Real Estate Rewired.
Welcome to Real Estate Rewired, AI with a Heart with Gus Waite. And today I am so excited because we are coming to you from Kentucky with Trey McCallie. And they say in Lexington, you're never more than 6 degrees away from a horse or from a basketball recruit, but you're usually only 1 degree away from today's guest. He's a man who knows every street corner in Bluegrass, the guy who spends his weekends coaching Little League and his weekdays moving millions in real estate. He's a Virginia Tech Hokie living in a wildcat world. The principal broker himself, Trey McCallie. How's that?
Hey, that's good. Thank you. I need you to be my hype man.
There it is. I'm doing it, man. How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Listen, I always like to start it here, Trey. No, I don't know. There was one guest I had who was like at 8 years old, they wanted to get in real estate. So, how the hell did you end up in this crazy field? Like, what was your origin story?
I'm the son of a hospital administrator and an operating room nurse. So in high school, when I told them that I wanted to go pre-med, they were really, 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 really excited, to say the least. And then I met a class called organic chemistry. And that helped me to know that I didn't need to be pre-med anymore. So I was in university development when I first graduated, and then I went into sales, and I sold mostly IT and software, Oracle database software and HP servers and things like that. And I liked it just fine, but I knew it wasn't my passion. So I read, What Color is My Cheese?
What color is my parachute?
What color is my parachute?
Who moved my cheese? There we go, baby.
It's been long enough now that
the
neurons aren't firing anymore.
That's all right.
So I read those 2 books, well, whatever the title is, and both of them had some career testing in there, and real estate was in the top 5 of everything, every career test I took, and then top 2 of a lot of what I took. I really wanted to solve. I had an entrepreneurial drive that I knew I needed to solve. So I went and took the real estate class I was in Richmond, Virginia at the time, and went to the Richmond Association of Realtors every Tuesday and Thursday night for 3 hours for 6 weeks and got my real estate license, and here I am.
And how long ago was that, Trey?
Almost 20 ago.
Okay, beautiful. Because mine's a little further back than that, but like paint the picture for me of like the difference between where the tech was, like what the game was, like what was the game back then compared to the game now?
Well, coming from IT sales into real estate, I was like the tech whiz kid of the office. My office was a Napier Realtors ERA, fantastic group that still is in existence today, but a very traditional real estate company. They had just come off printing off going to Walgreens and getting 30 copies of pictures of their listings to rubber cement to make a flyer. That's how they were making flyers right before I got there. And there were agents that weren't checking their email every day. Email was kind of a thing. Everybody thought I got a realtor.com website when I first got in the business, and everybody thought that was pretty slick. I signed up with a company called House Values to get some listing leads, which was really high tech as well. So, Top Producer was kind of the dominant software then, but it was client server, I think, still. I'll tell you one. I got a card from Verizon that had a cell phone connection because I went on vacation, and I could stick that in my computer and have internet, and everybody thought that was crazy that I was on the internet with my computer at the beach in Nags Head doing my real estate stuff. So
well,
that's where
let's get low tech. How many times did they want you to fix the printer?
Well, what I need to tell them myself is I'm the guy that breaks the printer. Or the copier. Every place I've worked, I've broken the copier. So me and copiers have something, but
their copiers are weird, man. It's unbelievable. If somebody could invent a home copier that actually worked, it'd be or a restaurant table that doesn't wobble. Those are the two.
That's what the sugar pack is.
All right. So paint the picture now. You're in Virginia. Give me the fast track to where you're at today. How many agents? Like, what's your business look like today?
So I have McCallie Real Estate, which is my own firm, and I have about 10 agents that work under me. One about 5 of them are on a team together. I've worked at KW. I went in with some partners and had a kind of a boutique firm for a while. I had a Realty One Group franchise, and then now I have McCallie Real Estate.
And what do you love about having your own firm?
Well, my wife asked me the other day if I could go and do something like, could you take Tuesday off and do this with the kids? And I was like, let me ask the boss. Yeah, it's okay. He said I could do it. So
Right.
I love that part of it. I think, if I'm really being honest with myself, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So this satisfies a lot of that drive. I, there are lots of pluses about it, but I mean, one of my friends the other day said, "Oh, it must be nice, you're your own boss." And I was like, "No, I've got a wife and a 13-year-old daughter and clients and the lenders and the so I mean, yeah, but yes, but no."
And what parts of it still feel like a drag? You know what I mean? Like, if you could take some of the stuff off your plate, like what parts of it are like, ugh?
I mean, I've never been one that minded paperwork, but I think when you're busy, it's like I'm the first one to jump toward a transaction coordinator because I just want that off my plate. I don't love home inspections. Like one of my friends asked me what I hated most about real estate, and like without hesitation, I was like, home inspections. Everybody has a different impression of how it should go. The buyers think the house should be perfect. And I even tell buyers, I'm like, even if you're buying a brand new house, it's not perfect. But I think buyers, home inspectors name everything on their list because they have to protect themselves. We're only supposed to look for major system problems per the contract. The buyers get, so I think it's just always a nimble dance when you're talking about home inspections with sellers and buyers of real estate. And I've had sellers that have done, like I just had one that did a pre-listing home inspection and fixed everything. So when the buyers came, they were in really good shape because they had fixed everything. And so I love when they listen to that advice, but it's just, and I think I think since COVID, real estate's been more of a grind for me.
In what
Like
way?
I just think, like I always laugh at the Nick Saban tells his players, or used to tell his players every morning, you have to fall in love with the grind. And I'm always like, hey, Nick, I don't know that I can fall in love with. I think just the some of it is the uncertainty of real estate, because you're unemployed every morning when you wake
Right.
up. But I think the uncertainty of it, and I just think all the networking and phone calls and everything you have to do to be successful is a grind for me.
Well, and let me ask you this, because this was a dynamic I'm sure you'll recognize. You've been doing this a long time. A couple, right? For whatever reason, one party in the couple really is enthusiastic about moving and kind of loves every house they see. Like they would take the first one you showed them.
That's
And
right.
the couple that's not, the partner that's not so enthusiastic about moving, whether it's the husband, the wife, the partner, is finding look, the stones in the walkway are a little uneven. I'm going to fall down in the wintertime. How do you deal with the dynamic when the reality is it's not about the property, it's about the dynamic between the partners and they're not on the same page about how to move forward?
Yeah, I think one thing I'll say about ERA and being trained as a new agent ERA, they taught us to recognize the differences in couples, and that there's a dominant person and there's a more subtle person in the couple. Opposites attract. So I think you have to recognize which person is which in the relationship. I think you have to meet them both where they are. I'm not a big engineering, accounting kind of guy, but I know when I have an engineer or an accountant or that kind of personality type that I've got to overwhelm them with data. And I do it. But then if they're more kind of happy, cheerleadery, Trey McCallie-ish, I have to fulfill those needs too. So I think you have to get both people to where they are. Sometimes they make you privy to their internal discussions as a couple.
Right.
And sometimes they go away and they don't tell you what, and they just come back and say, it's a no on this house. And they don't really tell you why. And I don't do as well with those. I try to encourage clients to give me lots and lots and lots of feedback so that I can really dig in on what they want in a house. And when I see it, I can identify it quickly for them. But you don't always get that because some people just discuss everything internally and then kind of give you the answer.
Well, and I think it's also interesting. Listen, I was very lucky in New York. We had inbound from around the world. And
Yep.
so there were very
Lots of cultures.
yes, lots of cultures. And without naming any particular culture, there was one culture that was super agreeable about everything. They loved every apartment. They never gave you
Yep.
any negative feedback about anything.
Yep.
And I remember like my agents would come into the office, go, how'd you do? They go, oh, it was great. They loved everything. I said, uh-oh, we're in trouble. They're never pulling the trigger because you're getting no negative feedback. And then on the other extreme, you could have a culture where nothing is perfect. And so the agent would come back and say, oh, it was terrible. And I'm like, no. That's just their way of being. Nothing is as good as they would want it.
Yeah.
So do you find yeah, go ahead.
I went to a class a few years ago and they said objections and negativity are opportunities for you. And once I started thinking about it that way, it really helped. And that way I knew that they were giving me the opportunity to either fix it, solve the problem, discuss it, whatever. I mean, some things you can't like bad
Right.
foundation, you can't overcome unless they're going to redo the foundation. But I think once I thought about it like that, it was much better than just, oh, we love everything and everything's good, because you're getting nowhere. You're treading water.
Mm-hmm. Got it. All right, let's talk about AI. What are you doing with it? Where are you at on the sort of adoption, implementation, thinking about it curve?
Well, I think about it all the time because it seems to be in every podcast or class or anything I'm listening to right now. Jared James has a series out right now that is talking about how to implement AI in our businesses. So far, I've used it like I write all my MLS marketing descriptions with it.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that, you've got to put a lot of information in, but then it writes a beautiful marketing description. And then, of course, you got to edit it as appropriate. I'm trying to look at kind of the operational processes and see where I can plug it in. I need more understanding. And then, of course, all I'm on right now is ChatGPT, which is kind of some people will say like Claude is the only way now. And so I'm learning about these different platforms, but I'm interested. I'm just not like, I don't have full adoption yet, but I'm not sure that many people do quite yet.
Well, it's interesting because I wish I could bring up, this is such a cool grid, and I got to get it so I can pull it up. But basically what it showed was 84% of the planet has never been on an LLM model. Now, that's a little misleading because 2.2 billion people don't have access to the internet.
Right. So that takes them out.
Right. But even within the adoption, like right now, I think the numbers are 900 million people have a ChatGPT, but only like 50 million of them have a paid subscription.
Right.
And then when you look at in that paid subscription model, and this is the analogy I like to use, Trey, it's like if everybody bought a home gym and we go, oh, wow, everybody bought a home gym. But yeah, I'm going down there, I'm opening the door, I'm looking at it going,
they're hanging their ironing on it.
Yeah, they're hanging their ironing. Exactly. But it's like the guy who says, hey, man, I want to run a marathon a year from now. I've hired a personal trainer. Like I'm seeing what the top 1% are doing. The thing that's interesting to me, because I talk to such a wide array of people, like I've gone all the way from Jeff Rebuck out in LA, 100 agents, Compass, doing $3 billion a year. Like the highest adoption rate of AI as possible. And then guys who are like, haven't even gone on it yet. They're just like, I don't want to do it. Yeah. And it's really interesting for me to see that most of the people are kind of where you're at. Yeah. Like it's everywhere. I've played around with a little bit, but I'm not 100% sure like what to do with it.
And I think that one of the things I didn't mention is, Gary Vee says to do all what you used to search in Google. Yeah. Stop Googling it and ChatGPT it. And I've noticed that I'm getting better results doing that. So
Well,
That's kind of an interesting twist that because Google's just delivering what it thinks are the top 10 sites for you on that topic, whereas ChatGPT is getting you the actual information that you're really going for.
let me ask you a question. I haven't listened to Gary in a while. Is he still interested in buying the New York Jets?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's his
Dude,
that's that's his
listen, I lived
that's
in New
his
York. What is he thinking? What a nightmare.
I know. Well, I think that I'm a former Redskins fan and Dan Snyder and the name change finally made me give up on the Redskins. But I can tell you the bad ownership is holding them back, just like it's holding the Dallas Cowboys back. And it's because if the Jets had any kind of success, people would go crazy. I've got a really good friend that's a real estate broker. He's in Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know why he's a Jets fan, but he loves the Jets. And of course, every little funny meme I see about the Jets, I send it to him. But it's bad ownership. I mean, Johnson's a bad owner.
Yeah, but here's what's crazy about it. I'm a Giants fan, lifelong, right? The Giants always had great ownership. I mean, it was
Yep.
that old school, steady, don't rock
Fish
the.
and Mara and
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know whether it was when Wellington died and the new kid took over or the Tishes or whatever,
I don't know.
but you talk about a bad ownership structure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Although I think Harbaugh's a good hire.
yeah, I do too.
I think it's a great hire for the Giants.
But man, and you also see, I mean, I think about Buffalo going to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row and losing, right?
Oh, man.
I think about 2 plays that the Giants did against New England, or, New England's got 9 rings. I mean, it is amazing when you look back. And to me, I will say this, Trey, being a Giants fan, on the road in Tampa Bay, on the road in Dallas, championship against Brett up in Green Bay, and then beating an undefeated Patriots team. I don't know that a run like that will ever happen again.
No, it won't, because you weren't expecting the Giants to do that. And, everybody kind of picks on Eli, but he turned out to be a very strong leader for them.
Opie. But the thing was,
Yeah,
Opie, I mean, when I would see him afterwards, I'd say, this guy looks like me. I mean, no muscle mass.
Yeah. But and of course I think about the Parcells days when the Redskins were good and they were good, and that was always such a battle because you knew the Parcells plus you had LT, but
right.
I mean those Parcells teams were and we had a good friend in Virginia that was from New Jersey, and he was a huge Giants fan, so we always got together to watch the Giants and the Redskins, and that was always a lot of fun.
Until they broke Theismann's leg. That was a little grim.
That was the end.
And the Giants lost that game.
Yeah.
I think they were so shooken up, they just said, what the hell?
Well, I think even LT was shook up about that.
Yeah.
I think he was I saw an interview with him not too long ago, and they were talking about that, and he never wanted to hurt anybody like that.
So anyway, listen, this is how this podcast goes. I got to start a sports podcast because
exactly. You got me talking about the Jets.
Exactly. So now what I would like to do though is let me ask you, I'm not talking about fair housing, anything like that. I'm just talking about from your heart.
Sure.
Ideal client profile. Like, who do you love working with? You know what I mean? Like, who really you work with them and you just tell me about that.
I think right now I've helped some people downsize and move out either to senior living or the nursing home. And of course it's very emotional because they've got to unpack 30 years of memories and kind of declutter and move. And, the kids aren't always local to help. So I've enjoyed doing that and helping those folks get settled in their new surroundings. I still get really excited when the light bulb goes on for a first time home buyer too. I mean, there's a lot of excitement, but there's a lot of nervousness. And so I think when you walk in the right house for folks like that, it's pretty fun.
And now let me ask you this. What would be the downsizers, right? I mean, you've got 30, 40, 50 years of history. You raised your kids there. Maybe your spouse is still there with you. Maybe they're not. So what do you think are 2 or 3 or 4 actions that adult children could take to sort of transition, you know what I mean? To make that a little bit smoother. Like what are some of the things like it's only once you start to move, you go, oh my God, I didn't think of this or that.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm sensitive to it because my sister and I had to go. My parents were in the last house that they were in for 32 years. I mean, since the time I was in seventh grade. So, I took a week off of work and worked like a dog, and it looked like I hadn't done anything. I mean, it's
Mm.
just, I always joke people, you only bring it in one Walmart bag at a time, but it really piles up and you kind of expand to the space you have. So I think the adult children can go in and mark what's important to them, like if there's antiques or paintings or whatever it is that's important to them, and then just get rid of everything else. I mean, take it
Mhm.
to the church, take it to the rescue mission, take it to people that need it, but go ahead and, donate, throw away, sell, whatever it is, and declutter the house because it really is a lot of stuff. I mean, my sister and I went through that. So
Yeah, and I find it's interesting. I went through in the process of going through it with my 85-year-old mother. I also found, a lot of times elder people feel like they're losing their agency. Everybody's telling them what to do and all of that. I found it really effective to sort of put it in three piles and say, hey, definitely not throwing away, definitely throwing away. And I don't know yet. So that like I gave her the dignity of choosing which of her stuff she wanted to let go of.
let
'Cause
her keep the power.
coming in like a bulldozer didn't work.
No. Well, and one of my sister's best friends is OCD. So that really helped. She came in and just, whitewashed the place, but it really helped us to kind of move along because she was putting it she loved organizing all that stuff and we didn't. So that was kind of funny that Heather helped us
Right.
like that.
And what do you think give me some misconceptions that first-time homebuyers have, and, like, what you specifically do to, make that journey a little smoother for them.
Yeah, well, it depends on who they're listening to and who they're getting advice from. I mean, if your uncle bought a house in 1983, he's not going to be a great source of information. So be careful who you're listening to. You don't have to put 20% down to buy a home. I mean, we have an FHA program that's 3.5. Some of the local banks have down payment assistance. So there's all kinds of opportunity out there where you don't have to have 20% to put down. The house is not going to be perfect. The home inspection is for us to protect you and look at all the items on the house, but no house is perfect, even in new construction. And this should be fun. I mean, this should be an exciting time in your life. Hopefully, usually we catch people at good times when they're getting married or their family's expanding or whatever it is. And this should be, I mean, they say moving is one of the top 5 stressors, and I understand that, but I also think it can be a really fun, exciting time in your life where you're building wealth and owning your first home, and it's kind of your first step into adulthood.
Love it. What's going on in your market right now?
It's weird. I mean, I put a house on the market in a great neighborhood, great school district, and like we've had no bites. And then I've had others that I told the sellers it was going to take 30 or 60 days to sell, and it sold the first night. So we've got a lot of people on the sidelines. I think that's happening all over the country as I talk to some of my agent friends. I just went to a conference in Louisville a couple weeks ago where there were people from all over, agents from all over the country. And I think they're all having the same experience that we're just kind of in a weird time. People don't know what to do with our action that we're taking in Iran. We're not supposed to call it a war. And, I think we were kind of getting the rates settled down and then they popped back up once we attacked Iran. And it's just kind of a weird, like it's more of a balanced market, but it's still tipping a little bit to the sellers. And I don't know, it's hard to read the stats a little bit for me.
So there's a little bit of uncertainty.
Yeah, I mean, the people that are smarter than me say, like Lawrence Yun, who's the chief economist for NAR, says that 26 is going to be a much better year. So if they're bullish on it, I decided to be bullish on it. So I've been doing well, but it is a little strange right now.
Yeah, well, listen, I've always found it so interesting, right? Like when I was in New York during COVID, I had worked with a really high net worth individual and he looked at it as a buy opportunity. and he came in and bought 5 condos. But what was interesting in New York City at that time, prices only came down about 10%. And the reason being that the barrier to entry was so high. So you had co-ops, and a
Yep.
lot of those co-ops, you had to have the liquid assets of the price of the property post-close. So if you were buying something for $5 million, you had to have $5 million in cash in the bank after you
Right.
closed. So they weren't going anywhere.
Well, and I think New York is its own kind of thing a little bit too.
Yeah,
My son and I just went up there. I forgot to tell you, my son and I went up there for spring break, and we took, of course, we did the touristy thing and took the boat around the island and everything. But I didn't realize, I mean, Brooklyn would be like the 4th largest city in the country
it's
without
crazy.
Manhattan. Like
Yep.
I didn't know that. And so I think New York is a really unique real estate market, especially when you pair in Connecticut and New Jersey and the other place, Long Island, and all the other places where people live around there and commute in on the train and everything. It's just a really unique place.
It is, and what's interesting about it is I feel like that's true in every market, you
Yeah.
know? But
We were
New
riding
York is New York. I mean, it's a
we were
different
riding on
beast.
the boat, and he pointed out a couple of the skyscrapers they built in Jersey City, and it's like Fortune 500 companies that have done it over there. But because the real estate's cheaper in Jersey City, but you're right across the river
Yeah.
you're right across the Hudson River from New York. So you don't lose anything by being in Jersey City except for taxes and, but I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah, absolutely. So Trey, man, this was a great conversation. Is there
Fine.
anything that I forgot to ask you?
I don't know. Like I said, I think the market's been a little strange here. That's what the other realtors have decided to use, but we're bullish on 2026. I've been busy lately. I feel very fortunate for that because I know 71% of realtors didn't sell one home last year, so I feel very grateful and fortunate that I was active. But I just, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you, and I've loved getting to know you a little bit, and I hope the Jets work out for you.
Well,
Oh,
listen, I'm a
you're
Giants
not.
fan. I'm a Giants. So listen, well, listen, before we go though, 2 things we got to talk about. The Final Four. Were you
Okay.
shocked? Who did you have in your bracket this year?
Well, it wasn't. My brackets weren't too good this year because I had Duke winning it all, so that
Okay.
that got taken out. I grew up in ACC country, so I always am kind of biased that way. I wish I had watched. I really didn't see Michigan much this year. I heard how good they were.
Right.
And then when I watched them dismantle Arizona, my friend was texting me and I said, they are going, I mean, I think UConn will give them a run, but because UConn is UConn, but I don't think anybody can beat Michigan. And that was true. I mean, that
Right.
was unbelievable.
All right. Now
But
let's
I didn't, my bracket was awful.
okay,
So
good. Well, listen, I'm glad you're admitting that on camera. You know what I mean, Trey? A
that's
little bit of
terrible.
humility. So, and
Terrible.
now let's jump to the Masters.
Yeah.
Did you watch it on Sunday?
I did. So my dad entered the Masters raffle to win a practice round every year for a long, long time. And probably one year right after I started in real estate, my dad was calling me on the phone. I was out showing houses and I just picked it up and I was like, what are you doing? And he goes, guess where you're going to be in April of whatever. It was like October. And he goes, you're going to the Masters. So we went to a practice round at the
Wow.
Masters. And so that was a great moment because he had you used to enter by mail to win the Wednesday practice round tickets. And so that's always been a thing that like reminds me of him and that he was a great golfer. And so I watch as much of the Masters as and I watched it pretty much all day on Sunday. And so I'm really happy for Rory because Golf Channel on Saturday night was really questioning him. Those
Right.
guys that have never won a major were kind of crapping all over him. So it made me mad. And I was like, I hope Rory goes out and does it tomorrow. And he did. I think the other guys, like I think Scotty and Justin Rose kind of fell back. I don't think it was that Rory did what he had to do to win, but it got a little close there at the end, especially after he bombed that drive off of 18. I was like, oh God, he's really messed up here, but he was able to recover and win because I guess he had up to 5 strokes to still win it on
Yeah,
18.
but
Yeah,
it's amazing. If you think about over
yeah,
4 days, man, to keep that
yeah,
and
and
I
hold it
play.
together.
Right. I mean, listen, I get frustrated if I chunk 100-yard shot because I can do it.
Yeah,
I mean, can you
exactly.
imagine for them
I
knowing
can't. Well, and I think, you know, it's such a endurance test, and they make that course so difficult, and they made it harder after Tiger dominated it the first time. But for him to only be one of 4 to go back to back, I mean, it's only him, Tiger, Faldo, and Nicholas. I mean, that's a very elite club to win back-to-back Masters. So I was really happy to see it. And I love when they show his club in Northern Ireland and they're just going, it's
yeah, yeah,
midnight
yeah,
there
yeah,
and
yeah.
they're just going ballistic. I love that too. So
Well, I've heard in person it's much, much hillier than it looks
it
like.
is. And my wife was asking me while we were watching it Sunday, and I said, you really have to go there because TV does. I mean, it's beautiful on TV,
Right.
but TV does not do it justice. I mean, if you ever have the chance to go, you must go because live is just, it's a cathedral to golf. I mean, it's like they
Mm.
said, it's unbelievable, but it's a special place.
Fantastic. Well, Trey, we're going to jump off in a second, but stay on for a
Thank you.
minute. I wanted to talk to you. And I just
Yeah,
wanted to say to all our viewers, thank you for watching Real Estate Rewired AI with a Heart with Gus Waite. If you'd like to be on the show, reach out to me. If you have any questions, DM me and keep playing around with AI, man. And keep,
I
and this
will.
is my tagline, Trey. AI turns what you love into a superpower and takes what you hate off your plate. So thank you for watching. If you've got value from today's episode, hit subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to know what you're thinking. If you're ready to turn what you love into your superpower and take what you hate off your plate, schedule your free AI discovery call. The link is in the description and pinned comment. I'm Gus Waite. Until next time.